Welcome to the Mason Pot fam. Thank you for tuning in. And if it's your first time, we do all types of infusions here, edibles, and just cool videos like this. Today, we're gonna be talking about tinctures. I made this tincture with the Mason Pot kit with MCT oil. I'll link that below. I just wanted to share my 2 cents on tinctures in general and kind of just talk about them as a whole. So tinctures, typically were made from alcohol and still often are. A lot of people prefer the MCT oil, not only to get rid of that alcohol component, but that also has a burn to it when you're using alcohol. I enjoy both, but in general, I use an oil-based tincture more. Now, why is it underrated in my opinion? Because the ease, versatility, and cost is just, all those are there. So ease, unscrew your jar, take a little drop, let it sit under the tongue. It will kick in pretty quick. Ease, throw it in a coffee, tea, throw it in a cocktail. The oil won't dissolve as well in cold stuff because oil and water don't necessarily mix, but I'll have a different couple recipes, simple syrup and can of sugar coming at you guys. Throw it on any food, that quick, and the cost. So, especially if you're making it, the cost is insane. This whole bottle is super potent, and I think at the end of the day, it probably cost me like 5, 10, 15 bucks to make tops. I'd say I'd have to break down that cost of goods. I don't want to fucking lie to you guys, but this shit is super cheap. Let's use a store example. If you go to the store, buy a 1,000 milligram bottle of tincture, around 50, 60 bucks often. Think about it. That's pretty freaking solid, man. So for every 10 bucks, essentially, you're getting 200 milligrams of quality tincture. And not only that, most of the time it's full spectrum. So you're gonna get that entourage effect. You're gonna get that nice high that we love from our flower infusions. It's not just a distillate high. Sure, there are distillate tinctures out there and not knocking those. I just prefer the full flower experience. I take it most often just under the tongue, sublingually. Let it sit there 15, 20, 30 seconds. That'll allow for a faster onset. It'll still go through your body and still go through the liver. And I'm not sure if you knew this, but that's the typical edible high. How it works is it goes through the liver and it transforms into something else called hydroxy 11 or 11-hydroxy. This is that high, that edible sedative high that most people know when you're couch locked and really dialed in. That's after it's been converted through the liver. Now, if you let it sit as a tincture, and I feel like the alcohol one kicks in even more, it will absorb through the glands in your mouth. Some will go through the esophagus and the bloodstream, and the rest will be done through the liver. So there's other ways to, get it quicker. And one of my favorite parts I left out is you're just getting the pure oil and the cannabis. You're not getting sugars, artificial flavors, coloring. You're not getting any of that other shit. You're just getting straight to the point, taking some healthy ass infused oil or whatever the tincture may be. And being a tincture, tinctures have been used for thousands of years. They're very medicinal feeling, and I think that's part of the reason they're not as popular as they should be. Just looked at as kind of a medicinal product, because when I would talk to people about it when they're buying gummies, this is when I was like selling beverages, I'd be like, yo, what, do you want to do a tincture? Like, I don't know, I like my gummies. People get so caught in their mix, and gummies are dope too. No hate on gummies, I love gummies, dude. But this is my go-to easiest way. People often ask me, like, dude, you make all these infusions and edibles, what do you do most often? This is it, bro. MCT oil tincture, good to go. Take some, you could do microdosing too throughout the day is another big element. It's harder to microdose a gummy. You can just do 1 drop of this, you're good to go. You could do 2 drops. Really, the versatility of tinctures is amazing. You can even make your gummies. You can even put it on gummies, dude, just right there and then let it dry a little bit, munch the freaking gummies. This is the most versatile thing in the game, I think, that is so undervalued and underrated. Not by me, obviously. I'm fucking love this thing. I love tinctures. So that's just a rant for you guys on tinctures. Thank you for chilling with the Mason Pot fam, and I'll catch you on the next video. Drop a comment below. What are you curious in? Do you have infusion questions? Do you have edible questions? Just general cannabis questions? Are you curious about the Mason Pot Infuser Kit? And oh yeah, by the way, if you want to grab one of those, use code MasonPot10 and get 10% off, guys. Thanks for chilling with the fam.